The latest Nintendo Direct has gone down, and I thought it was a really interesting Direct. There's one particular moment that we're gonna put aside. That's a separate conversation. But in terms of games, I thought they showed some really interesting stuff. So we're gonna work through the official Nintendo site and just work our way down and cover some of the big stuff. We've got a new quote-unquote massive expansion coming to Monster Hunter Rise. I'm very curious to see what that even means. Like, what is a massive expansion versus, you know, just a regular expansion or a standalone game. But I think, yeah, Monster Hunter has a huge fan base that probably wants more content, and it's great to see Capcom continuing to support this game. No hate on that. My personal favorite thing that they showed on the Direct was this new Kirby game, and I know this kind of leaked before the event happened, at least like a screenshot. We knew a Kirby game was coming, but we didn't know it was this. The fact that it is a 3D Kirby game. I don't know if we've actually had, like, there have been, Kirby has been in games where he moves in 3D space, but we have not had just a straight up Kirby 3D platformer. And I think this looks great. I'm in. I'm not the biggest Kirby fan. I did like Kirby's Epic Yarn, and I think there was one or two other ones that I've played to completion, and they're fine. But seeing Kirby in 3D space, it looks like Nintendo's spending some money to make this one go. I think it looks fantastic, and I cannot wait. Anjum, a new Kirby game. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get high. Air horns up for a new Kirby game. Anyone else excited for this? I thought this was the best new thing we learned at the show from a gameplay perspective. And then the oh my goodness, the Nintendo 64 is back, and it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. I think this makes a lot of sense. As much as I would have loved to have seen a Nintendo 64 Classic, it makes a lot more sense to have that service on the Switch, which already has almost 100 million users on it that can access these games a lot easier. And now we get to play a lot of these classics again. Mario Kart 64, Zelda, Star Fox, Mario Tennis, and Win Back. Everybody was looking for Win Back, am I right? Oh, this is good. And they've got a version of the Nintendo 64 controller coming back. One of my question marks, is it gonna be exactly the same? Is this joystick going to wear out in 3 months? But otherwise, having the games is great. Having access to this controller is great. I'll probably still use a regular controller. That's gonna be oh, I actually don't know, because it's C buttons versus a right analog stick. I was heavily debating getting this controller anyway, even though it's expensive, but I think I might have to do it. From a game library perspective, I think that the Nintendo 64 is actually a great get, because you don't have to worry so much about third parties, because there weren't really any third parties doing major things on the Nintendo 64 at the time. So it's going to be mostly first party stuff, and Nintendo can put that stuff out no problem. So you're going to get a pretty odds are we're going to get a pretty comprehensive hit or set of Nintendo 64 games, and I look forward to that. Calface says, wasn't excited about them wanting to charge more for having Nintendo 64 games. Depends on how much more. This is my biggest concern about this whole thing, was when they first announced the plan years ago, and they announced that all these games were included. It got me thinking, how do you expand on different consoles? Do you increase the price? Do you have separate plans, which confuses the issue? And they've decided to go with, we're gonna have a separate plan that confuses the issue. That part I don't like at all. Having the Nintendo 64 stuff and the Genesis stuff be in a separate tier, and you have to pay extra for that. I almost wish that they'd charge more up front so that they can continue to expand it. But this particular solution, I think, is overly confusing for the majority of people, and I don't like that part of it. I will be doing it because I like those games, and I think that I would like to play them without having to hook up a Nintendo 64, and for the purposes of streaming, it's a lot easier for me to just play these on the Switch than play them on a Nintendo 64. So I will make that investment, but for a number of people, it's not going to make sense. Anjum says, oh yeah, the new membership for Nintendo Switch will be expensive. I can see. I don't think it's going to be that much more expensive, but it will be more expensive. And now you have to think that, is there going to be even more tiers as they add even more consoles to support, which is going to get even more confusing. But no, I'm looking forward to playing a lot of these games. They showed a lot of good stuff. You know, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Star Fox, The Legend of the Ocarina of Time. They said Majora's Mask is coming. I saw F-Zero X, and yes, F-Zero X. Oh my goodness. Like, are we talking 30 a year instead of 20 or something ridiculous? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna guess something like $5 a month more. Could be wrong though. Nevertheless, I think that they messed up on the business model, how much they're charging for the service, if now they have to create different tiers to support different consoles. Other stuff, we got to see some new Splatoon 3 footage, and I think it looks great. The multiplayer combat looks great. I saw the whole wrecking ball thing. This Spider-Man looking super ability looks so cool. The single player stuff looks great. I'm hyped. There's not really much more to say. It looks great. And Bayonetta is back. It's been a billion years since we last saw or heard from Bayonetta 3, but it was good to see that it's in development. It's finally got a release date, and there's going to be a lot of people excited to go back into that universe. I'm not the biggest fan personally, but I'm happy for everybody that is. Anjum says, oh, Cowface says if they're going to triple the price, going back to the Nintendo 64 plans, triple the price, there better be more than just more retro games. But Nintendo, yeah. Nanjum says Splatoon 3 looks amazing. You love the Star Wars walkers. Yeah. We've got, Mario Party. We got to see a little more of that, and it's got online play and not just playing boards. You can play in like a marathon of mini games with other people trying to get the longest win streak. That's kind of cool. I'm totally in on this one. In a way that I haven't been in a long time for the newer Mario parties. So looking forward to playing that. What else is on here? I don't really have much to say about the new Hyrule Warrior stuff. It's cool that they're continuing to support that game, I guess. We had a new Chocobo kart racing game, and this looked kind of silly, and did we really need a Final Fantasy Universe kart racing game? But at the same time, there aren't that many kart racing games out there. There's a handful, like Nickelodeon has one, Crash Team Racing did really well. I think relative to how popular relative to how popular Mario Kart is, I think there should be more kart racing games on the market. So kudos to Square Enix for trying to cash in as best they can, and I hope this is good. This is another massive one. The announcement of the announcement that Animal Crossing is getting its own Direct in a couple of weeks. Steph mentioned that she had already resigned to the fact that we weren't going to hear anything about Animal Crossing, and then to hear, oh, there's Animal Crossing stuff, oh, they're doing a whole Direct, like, I hope it's good. I hope that this is the big content update we've all been waiting for, because I thought that first year of content was so good, so strong, and then it completely fell off a cliff when we realized, oh, Nintendo didn't really build anything past this first year, and it's just not being supported in the way that we were kind of led on to believe. So I know it's late and a lot of people have already dropped Animal Crossing because there hasn't been anything new, but if this is If this is big, if it's good, I think a lot of people are waiting for the thing that gets them back in, and this hopefully is it. Dying Light 1 and 2. Oh, coming cloud versions. I haven't tried any of the cloud versions of these games on the Switch. I wonder if they're all right. There is a free demo for that, so we'll have to, maybe I'll check it out at some point. Metroid Dread continues to look awesome. I'll be picking this up in a couple of weeks, and I think we're gonna be streaming this one. As long as I don't get stuck and then give up in the midstream, I think we're gonna try this one out, and I look forward to it. And what else? Oh, the Castlevania GBA games are coming out on the Switch, and that's great news. I haven't played any of these, but I'd be down to try. We've got the new chapter of Deltarune. That's out again. I don't really have. I know that people love the Undertale Deltarune universe, and it's great to see more of that on the Switch. And here's a slew of games. I don't know what. Here's just a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a pretty solid showing. They showed some stuff to get us excited about the future of the platform. Definitely opened some weird questions in terms of how they're supporting it with the online, and how much more are we paying for Nintendo 64 games. But overall, I thought it was a pretty solid showing from Nintendo.